Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Aura, and today we are going to talk about aphantasia, which means the inability of creating images in your head or imagining anything at all. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Aphantasia affects, that's a weird way to say because it's not a disease. So about 3% of the people have aphantasia. There are studies that show that 1% of the people have it, or that 4 or 5% of the people have it. So it's different things, whatever you're reading on the internet. Why I'm talking about this is because, one, I work as a hypnotherapist, which means that I'm asking my clients to imagine things. The same happens for meditations, right? We are asking the participants to imagine whatever it is that we are guiding them through to achieve relaxation, to achieve changes in their life, transformation, and so on and so forth. But in my 6 years of personally working with this, professionally working with this, and in my 13 years since I am actively practicing meditation and hypnotherapy for myself on a daily basis, I've never heard about this term. I've never learned about this term in all the books that I read on hypnotherapy, all the courses that I had. It just hasn't been mentioned. And then I had my second client, guinea pig in the beginning when I was exercising before working professionally, my husband who is an architect and who had a very, very hard time during the session. His session is actually on this YouTube channel. I will link it below in the description. I think it's called I See Nothing or I Perceive Nothing, because he couldn't perceive anything. It would just be black, nothing, whatever I would ask him to see, to visualize, to create in front of him, it would have been impossible. And it was just recently, I think it was about 2 years ago or 1 year ago, that he discovered that he has something called aphantasia, which blew his mind because he used to think that he's dumb. I'm using his words now because he cannot imagine anything. He was getting frustrating during the sessions. I've had 2 sessions with him and he had a very hard time of creating anything at all in his mind. So his entire session turned out to be a feeling session that was based on senses and feelings and emotions. In the courses of hypnotherapy, we learn about the left brain client, the client that is very logical, very structured, that has a hard time imagining something that they have not experienced in their everyday life, imagining something that is not part of their daily concept, which involves their personal life. But we have never learned about people who cannot imagine anything at all. And so when it comes to my husband, given that he is an architect, the test, or the usual test for aphantasia to know if you do have it, is try to imagine a red circle or imagine a red dot or a red ball. It can be blue, it can be any other color, but just the simplest of things. And that is for him absolutely impossible to imagine. If someone would tell him to describe his wife, me, then he would have trouble with that in a way that he would never describe the way that I look. He would describe the way that I feel, the way that I make him feel, the way that he feels around me and the experiences that he has with me. But if he's asked to imagine me or his dog or anything from his life in his head, he just cannot do it. It's not happening. And I know that this seems crazy and impossible, especially if you work as an architect, right? If his job is creating buildings and he makes the most beautiful things in the world, he creates things that I have personally not seen before. And the people that employ him are mind blown by the things that he's producing for them. But he is producing from a feeling, which is why when I'm having sessions, I've changed my entire approach of having sessions, which is thanks to my husband. I thought that I am so incredibly lucky to have him, also given the work that I'm doing, because this helps me work differently. So I no longer ask anybody to see anything, but now the question is, what do you feel? What do you perceive? What is happening? It's about engaging all of the senses. And this is a little bit almost like being blind. He described this to me as, by the way, a person that is blind from birth can have a session And it happened in sessions that they can describe blue skies and different things. And that is because they access the vision from other lifetimes, which also is being helped to construct with the information that they're having from this life by engaging all of their other senses. So the way my husband described it to me is that when I ask him to create anything in his mind, he thinks about the sounds, right? So if I tell him to imagine to be on the beach, he's hearing the waves, he hears the birds, he smells the algae, he feels the sand on his feet, under his feet. He feels the sea breeze. When it comes to forests, he can smell the pine. He smells the plants, the trees that are there. He feels the energy of the trees. So he lives through his senses in a way that most people don't, which is why he told me something very interesting yesterday when I asked him, how would you feel if I ask you to imagine a cord from the base of your spine that goes all the way down to the certain center of the earth and connects to the heart of earth? First of all, I asked him how he imagines the certain center of the earth. And he told me, like me, I have the same way of imagining it. Not that it's a rock or something or a mold of lava, but that it's a whole nother world there. A lush, beautiful, tropical, Lemurian situation that is going on in the center of the world, of the earth. Yes, this is how we both imagine it to be. So then it would make no sense for him. It would not make any sense for him to tell him to imagine a cord going down to the center of the earth and connected to the heart of the earth. He also told me, why would you ask me to connect to the heart of earth when the earth is a heart? And yes, the earth is a heart. It has the exact same function that our heart has within our body. So it's just so beautiful and so extraordinary to talk to someone like him that has no ability to create images in their head, but to create life and understand life through all other senses. And because he feels instead of imagining, it's one thing to tell you to imagine a cord going from the base of your spine all the way down to anywhere for you to connect to it. But it's another thing because he feels it for him. So he said that that feels very disgusting and uncomfortable. Why would you want me to tie a cord to the base of my spine? That's just horrible. Like, don't ask me to do that. He said, why would I want to bind myself to something? And if I am to connect to Mother Earth, why not then ask me to create roots that spread all over the earth instead of just a cord that goes down? And then he went on talking about how trees grow roots sideways and not straight down, because otherwise, first of all, they wouldn't have the nourishment, and second of all, they wouldn't have the stability to grow upwards. And this is so true. So there are so many things that we are doing within hypnotherapy and within meditation that simply don't actually work to benefit and nourish our essence. He said that when you imagine a cord, you imagine a cable. It doesn't even feel natural. It feels like some type of technology that shouldn't be there. And that it's one thing to talk about cutting cords that you don't want attached to you, but to create a cord for something beneficial, that's just weird. That doesn't make sense. If you think of the fact that the heart is the organ that keeps us alive together with our lungs. This is why we are working so much with our breath in hypnotherapy, in meditation, in just overall body regulation, right? Because when you are breathing, and when we are breathing all the way down to our stomach, when we breathe with our full lung capacity, slowly and consciously, we are then consciously working in sync with our heart. And what does the heart do? The heart takes the oxygen from the lungs and spreads it through the entire body by pumping the blood all the way to the tips of your toes and all the way to the tips of your fingers and the top of your head. So it is the organ that provides us with the life force energy and moves it throughout our body. And that is what Mother Earth is for all the life that exists on her right here, right now, as an extension of herself. I thought that it's so beautiful to be reminded by someone who cannot visualize anything in their mind that life is not linear. Life is not linear. We know this. Time is not linear. Nothing is linear. And so why would you create a cord to somewhere, to something? Maybe this video is also made as an invitation to all of us who practice meditation, who lead meditations, guide meditations, and hypnotherapy, to change our way of working with this in a way that truly soothes and nurtures every single beautiful, amazing, infinite being that we are working with. To understand that those who cannot imagine anything in their mind, probably like those who are unable to see, create instead concepts that engage all the senses, which is why it is so important for us to no longer just emphasize the sense of seeing, of perceiving, and stop insisting on things to be linear or to be in a certain way. Because again, we are all unique, multidimensional beings with unique needs, with unique ways of perceiving the world, of creating this reality, and of being of service to the entirety of consciousness. I truly hope that this video was helpful for you in a way or another. If not at least interesting, I find it extremely interesting. And I find this to be very valuable information, which shows that not everything is on the outside. Not everything is for us right there to see as it is, to not make any assumptions, to not judge, and to have the curiosity to look beneath the surface. With this, I bid you a most wonderful moment of the infinite now. Take care of yourselves. And as always, stay awesome and incredible. Bye. Channel if you're new here.